Well, welcome to the Small Talk. Oh, I almost broke stuff.
That's okay.
Welcome to the Small Talk podcast. I'm Mike Smallegan with Smallegan Real Estate. This is Dawn Levian with Break Room Therapy. All right, so this is the kind of prep room.
Yeah, this is our safety room. So when customers come in, they can put their items in a locker. Lockers do lock. They'll hold on to the key so that they know their stuff is nice, safe, and secure. And they can use as many lockers as what they need. And then we offer them as much or as little safety gear as what they feel that they need. They've signed waivers, so they are in charge of how much safety gear they wear. Okay. Anybody 13 to 17-year-old, the adult that's present with them, the adult will be the one making the safety choices because legally the minors can't make it, but adults would make their own decisions. The only requirement we have on safety gear that you must do is your shoes. They have to be a thick-soled tennis shoe, so no sandals, no flip-flops, no Crocs, no ladies' flats, and no heels. Those are shoes that we rent to people in case by chance people wear the wrong shoes, and then they can rent a pair of shoes from us.
These are some serious shoes.
Uh-huh.
Steel toe.
Yep. So we have lab coats and we have bodysuits. If somebody wants a lab coat or bodysuit, we help them find their size. If they don't want one, that's fine with us. We offer two different styles of face shields. One goes around the chin a little bit more, and one is straight down. Highly suggest use of a face shield, but if you're not going to wear a face shield, at least consider a pair of safety glasses. But face shields are definitely the better bet. Also, highly suggest use of a pair of gloves.
Super organized.
And then also highly suggest use of a pair of shoe booties if by chance you wear your shoes inside the house. It's not 100% guarantee, but the hope is that the glass sticks to the shoe booties and not to your shoes. And then when you're done, we have that rug and that boot scrubber. Once everybody's in their outfit, if they want a photo, we always offer a photo by using their cell phone. We have some props here and then a backdrop, and then we take their photo just to add to that experience.
So the bottles are just props?
Yep, those ones are props. So hammers, bats, crowbars, bottles, flags, signs, cups, all of that's available to just use as a prop for the backdrop for the photo.
Nice.
And then once they're done with that, we take them down this hallway. We have two different boards. I left them from this weekend so you can kind of see rather than them being blank. But this side here is how people feel before their session, and we do not censor. So whatever somebody is feeling is what they're allowed to write. I feel like there's more value in the word than putting emphasis on censoring people. And then on this side over here, if they want, this is how they feel after they're done with their session. And they're usually night and day difference between the two feelings.
Everybody on this board has better handwriting than me.
And then back here we have our 5 rooms. Depending on which room or package that you've picked out, we would have already had that set up for you. And we take them into the room, give them their basic room instruction on what they kind of can't do, and then we walk away and they can break their stuff for the 25 minutes that they have the session for.
So they get to bring their own stuff in to break.
So we have a few different options on that. We have packages that would have told them what it is it includes in their package, but they can also bring 10 additional pieces of glass for free to every package as long as they're clean. Or they can bring any outside electronics. If they bring outside electronics, we just charge a $5 disposal fee. The one rule in electronics, though, is that TVs and monitors must be flat screen. We don't break the old style CRT TVs because they have mercury in them. Okay. Or we have a BYOB package, bring your own breakables, where they're basically just renting our room, getting our safety gear and our equipment, and then they bring everything. So as far as bringing in their own items, there's 2 different options. Either add to your package or you supply the package.
Okay. I see you got price tags on some stuff here.
Yep, so these are the things that they can add on if they choose to. So once they've already picked out their package, if they're in there and they break through everything and they decide they want some additional things, we have stuff all over the floor, everything from 50 cents up to, 140 for that big old printer. But we have got mason jars, coffee mugs, we've got small electronics. These are things that they can add on if so during the session if they want to.
Where do you find your stuff?
We work with a lot of thrift stores in the area because people donate stuff and then the thrift store is not able to sell it. And the thrift stores used to just throw them away.
Yep.
But now we buy them from them in bulk. That way they don't have to worry about throwing it away. We buy it from them instead. And then we also work with a lot of restaurants in the area, getting their bottles from them. I have an employee that drives around Monday through Friday, picking up the bottles, bringing them back here, washing them, and then having them ready for the packages too.
Cool. And you, that's saving them waste.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Well,
almost like recycling, but fun, right?
Well, our trash used to go downtown to the waste to energy program, but it does not anymore. But we still recycle as much as we can. So, like, for example,
well, you're recycling even just by letting somebody else use it.
So all of our boxes that we get from the different thrift stores we put here, and that will go downtown to the recycling center on Wealthy Street. And then back here is kind of like where our prep station is. So everything's all done up. My staff knows if it's like an individual package, they grab this one. If it's a group package, they grab this, and we just put them into the room right away. But the other reason I brought you back here is the electronic packages that we have. We pick out the metals, and then they go into buckets, and then my employee takes these to Division of Metal Recycling usually Monday, but with the holiday, he's going to go tomorrow instead. So then all of this goes to the scrapyard rather than it going into the trash as well.
That's awesome.
So we try to recycle as much as what we can. But this is just a little behind the scenes of behind the rooms.
What do you do when you get too much stuff?
Having a rage room, there's never too much stuff.
Do you break it yourself? Do you just have a stressful day at work and just feel like breaking some stuff?
I own 2 storage units just down the road. I never have too much stuff.
So those are full too?
Yep. And then this is obviously a room. While they're in the rooms, we give them the room instruction that they cannot hit these 3 walls here. They can throw everything towards the wall with the metal mesh. So they can throw that way, hit that way, smash that way.
Yep.
They can also hit directly on the table, and they can hit directly on the floor. However, just because they throw something to the wall, that doesn't mean it's going to hit that wall and break. So we always tell them that it could hit that wall and come flying back to them. So be really, really careful about that rebound. We offer markers in the room. So if anything's making you mad, sad, frustrated, pissed off, stressed out, whatever, take your marker, write down the things that are bothering you on your glass item, then grab your weapon and just break it. Or we also allow people to cry, scream, swear, whoop it up and make noise. They can be verbally as loud as what they want as well. And sometimes having that permission to let go really just opens up them everything that they've been holding on to.
Yeah, how long have you been doing this?
4 years. 4 years this month, now that it's June.
So why break room?
So that answer has changed over the last few years. Initially, I was looking for a place for my husband because he's just always worked up and always just, you know. And I'm part of a group on Facebook called Squad Betty, just a bunch of women that are there for each other. And I was looking for a way for him to let go. But once I found out about rage rooms, at that point, the closest one was over in the Detroit area.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do well with surprises, so I knew I couldn't just take him. So when I told him what I'm doing, he was like, yeah, that's not for me. But I was a foster kid growing up. I went through a lot of physical abuse, a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of sexual abuse. I was also a kidnapped child growing up. Back in the day before the internet, I'm a milk jug child, meaning that when I was missing, my picture was on a milk jug, which only lasts in such an area. And well, when you're in New Mexico and then you go to Florida, that's never getting seen.
Sure.
And I went through a lot of trauma. So I could tell you lots of times in my life, if I had not been told just to sit down and shut up, or if I could actually do more than just talking, it probably would have helped. As I developed throughout the years, I got a lot of migraines, a lot of stomach problems, and probably just from holding everything in. So the idea of a rage room really connected to me, like deep. Like Super Bowl Sunday 2019, I'm coming up with this idea that we're going to do this. And then June of 19, we were open. It became everything I am on how to make this happen, what to do, how to run it.
That was quick.
Yeah. I've never felt that connected to something as what I do to this. I did a quick little survey on my Facebook page, like, hey, if we had this, would anybody go, or am I just the only crazy one? And just the amount of like fast responses, I'm like, all right, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm gonna be mad that I didn't and somebody else did. And I just really connected with it. So we had our original location about a half mile down the road. We started off with 2 rooms, 1,000 square feet. I didn't want to bite off more than what we could chew to begin with. But then come March of 2020, as we all know what happened there with COVID, we got shut down for a while. That sucked. But it also gave us time to kind of like, okay, we were starting to pick up traction. What do we want to do? How do we do better?
Kind of strategize and come up with a better plan.
We couldn't pivot. This only works if you're the one breaking it. This only works if you can come to me. This only works if you're allowed to physically be here. There is no pivot.
Yeah.
So our only pivot was, okay, when we can open, how do we, 1, reopen, because now we've been shut down for a while, and 2, when we open, what do we want to do? And we already knew that we wanted a bigger location, so we started looking and we found this one. So we went from 2 rooms to 5 rooms, 1,000 square feet to almost 4,500 square feet, or like 4,500 square feet, and just decided how we wanted to operate.
Yeah, you stay pretty busy?
Yeah, so in the fall and winter and spring, we're really, really busy. Come summer, we get really slow. But I don't really blame Michigan. We only get a few months to be outside, and finally people can be outside.
Gives you an opportunity
Right.
to get outside too, right? A
Well,
little bit.
ish. I mean, we still operate the hours that we're open, but we definitely do slow down.
You say it only works if you're the one breaking stuff.
Yeah.
My daughters watch unboxing videos on YouTube of somebody else opening presents.
Well,
Maybe there is a market for that.
So yes and no. So like people ask us all the time, so do you break stuff? And yeah, we do. Though it's different now because now that I'm providing a service and it's inventory, I look at the things a little bit different than if it was just, something to just go in and break.
Yeah.
But when we're back in the front office area, I don't know if you saw the TV that we have that has all the cameras in the rooms.
Yeah.
Even when the session's going on, sometimes us watching it can be our own therapeutic as
But
well.
have you thought about maybe putting that stuff online and letting other people watch to see if there's a market for that? Because, Jeremy's really excited about watching us break something.
So I've thought about that, but if we did, it would definitely have to be quiet. It would not be with the sound because a lot of my customers do come here dealing with a lot of garbage, a lot of stuff that they're dealing with themselves, and I wouldn't want to expose their personal lives
not random people.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But let's say one of your people or you were like
just randomly
break stuff Fridays,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And just posted videos of breaking weird things online.
Right.
I bet there's people that want to watch that.
Well, there's possibly an outlet for that and something we could look at. I just wouldn't want to have my customers' videos the ones there.
No, for sure. No, that's totally different thing.
There is another rage room in that way, and their rules point blank say they have a staff member in the room with you, and I can't imagine that being comfortable or fun. My customers come here because they want to let go and they don't want me in the room with them.
I could definitely see that as being an outlet for somebody, but I also think there's probably people that just like to see different things, and there might be somebody that's into watching other people smash stuff.
Right, possibly, yeah.
Who knows?
So say your group was the three of us.
Yeah.
Only 2 people are allowed in the room at a time.
Okay.
But when they're not physically in the room, that's where the windows come into play. So even though when they're not in the room, they can still watch from the window,
What's
take
the reason
photos.
for 2?
Insurance.
Okay.
2 people in the room and only 2 people in the room at a time, no more than 2. But then they just take turns tag teaming in and out throughout the session.
Okay.
But when they're not in the room, they can watch from the window, take photos, cheer each other on, or hit Bob, our punching bag here in the middle. So, but they can just watch from in here or hit Bob and then take turns tag teaming in and out. But it's an insurance thing of the 2 people.
So all the break rooms are pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No theme rooms or...
So we have themed packages, but the rooms themselves are the same. So like we have a bottles only package, we have a group mix package, we have an electronic rage package, or each of those packages you can always add on additional things too. But we don't have quote unquote themed rooms.
Okay.
That way, no matter what somebody wanted to book, we have that available for them. Speaking of themed rooms though, during COVID, when we were trying to okay, how do I grow my brand and how do I get us out there? I contacted AJ Nadeau from Office Space, and he did me a cameo shout out, which was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He was in Samir from Office Space.
Yeah.
So I think on your questions, one of the things that you asked was how do we include or involve ourselves, be a warm and welcoming location. The one thing that we definitely are is very open and outspoken about being very accepting of everybody, regardless of who they are. There are some businesses that only hang their stuff in June. We hang our stuff year round and have stickers everywhere, have shirts everywhere, have signs everywhere. I'm going to judge somebody based on how they act and not who they are as a person, whether it's age, gender, size. Even on our safety gear, we go all the way up to 6X for the bodysuits and coats because we wouldn't want even a larger person to feel discriminated. So we just try to welcome you for who you are. Your actions are going to be what's going to change that. Even on our reviews, when we have the bad ones, it's because somebody just chose for whatever reason not to follow what little rules we have. But we are very welcoming.
Thanks for doing this with us today. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get the idea of having a break room?
I was looking for a place for my husband to let go, and he was not a fan of the idea, but when I learned about them, I just really, really connected with it because a lot of trauma that I came up with growing up with, and just decided that this had to be in the area. It's just a different outlet to let go and to stop holding on to whatever you're holding on to and just to
So much involved, right?
Right.
So like, how did this come about? So you had the idea of it was needed. What was your background before getting into having this type of business? Did you own other businesses? Or?
I have not owned any other business. I think there's always been like that little hidden ember of me wanting to do something. I always did like the little MLMs, like I did Pampered Chef and I did Tastefully Simple and, like all the other little like, hey, do this and work for yourself, and did Shipped for a while. But before that, I was in nursing. I worked in the cemetery. I was an auditor. I was an accountant. Like I wore a lot of hats. All of them seem to be something service related, trying to be there for people and trying to just kind of help service a need. But once I learned about a rage room and that there was not one in the area, it was just like I could not let go of this idea that I had to open it. I just had to. That was Super Bowl Sunday of 2019. My husband watched a football game. I spent my time building the website, looking at all the other rage rooms that are in the United States, trying to see like how do they operate, what do they do, what are their rules, because each one of us are a little bit different.
Sure.
And then just kind of like, all right, let's do this. And then by June of 19, we were open. Spent a lot of time just obsessing and like just owning the fact that we were going to do this.
Yeah, and so you started kind of with the idea of helping your husband, and I think in that same way, you're helping a lot of other people.
Yeah,
kind of through this.
He had no desire to do it. He's like, honey, I just don't want to break anything. And
Does he have a standing appointment now? Does he come every Friday? Or
no, he understands why people do get value out of this, and he has seen them, come in really upset or sad or broken, and then leave really just relaxed and calm and let go. But it's still not for him. But looking at it, my husband is probably one wife away from being a hoarder, meaning that if he didn't have a wife, he probably would be, because he just doesn't get rid of anything.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can't break something, I guess, kind of does make sense, because he doesn't even want to throw away the stuff that he has. Why would he want to break somebody else's stuff?
Yeah.
But it's just not for him. But he fully understands, how this could help other people, and he supports the idea. When he said it wasn't for him, I said, okay, but the problem is, I really feel like this would help a lot of people, and I really want to bring this into the area. For whatever reason, there's such a stigma around mental health, and it can affect so much of our life. Even just health-wise, it can be affected by your mental health. So I'm not a therapist. I don't pretend like I am. I don't, act like I am. But I know that what we offers a therapeutic value, and being able to provide a space for people just to let go and to stop holding on to everything, it really just makes me happy.
I mean, so people are different types of learners, right?
Yeah.
Some people learn hands-on or writing or by doing, or and I think that therapy could be a similar thing where maybe just screaming out loud or talking to somebody or breaking stuff would be the way that people would heal or get through things. So that's awesome that you have that service. And
in the rooms we have where they have the marker and they can write down the things that are making them feel mad or sad, frustrated, pissed off, stressed out, whatever, and then just break it. It's obviously not going to fix it. I wish I could fix people's problems, but what it does do is just allows them to stop letting go of it. We even have therapists I saw you looking at the business card holder that we have. We have therapists that come here with their clients, or therapists that send their clients to us and then to them, or to go to therapy and then to us. So we've got about 14 to 20, I'd have to look at the exact number on there, of therapists that have said, hey, yes, sitting down and talking to me does help, but you also need something more. And they suggest that their clients come to us, which just makes me happy because it kind of supports that vision and mission of what we're trying to do. So has there been any times where you feel like you've made a huge impact that you could share with us? Maybe not names, but just enough of the situation that people watching this would understand, like how what you do helps other people? There's probably, there's quite a few of them, but there are certain sessions that just kind of stick with you. We have a couple that used to come, and when they first came in, we couldn't figure out if they didn't like us or if they didn't like each other or didn't like themselves, because they were just very standoffish to begin with, but they kept coming back. And then the more they came, the more they talked, the more they came, the more they opened up, the more they, they warmed up to us. And now they're at the point where now it's just date night for them. We learned that their marriage therapist had suggested that they just, rather than yelling at each other, go back to the break room and, yell back there or break stuff together or write stuff down and just basically have like a vent session. And with time, it has eventually helped them to the point that sometimes she'll come on her own just to let go, or sometimes he'll come in just to let go, or sometimes they just want a fun date night. So that was really nice to see that little transformation of that. We have another girl who sadly her daughter passed away, and every year on her anniversary she comes here and that's how she lets go and kind of honors the life of her daughter and just her own like acknowledgement of her feelings, her sadness, her upsetness. Because I mean, there's a lot of feeling when you lose somebody that close to you. But she comes in, she breaks her stuff, she lets go, she cries, and then she walks away. So we only see her once a year, but we always know, okay, we're going to see her. And then there's just the ones where you're not really always sure what it is that somebody's going through, but you can tell they're going through something. On our reservations, they get asked why they're coming, but it also says they do not have to tell us. They don't. I mean, if they want to share, they share. Sometimes we get a whole paragraph. Sometimes we get because, or sometimes it's empty. That's fine. You don't have to tell me why you're coming. And the ones that are coming that are pretty deep, we, try to use a little bit more soft hands with them. We've had some people that have gone through some physical abuse and or emotional abuse, and they put that in their little reservation notes. And by the time they're done, obviously it didn't undo that. It didn't fix it, but they at least you could tell they feel better, which is also why we started incorporating the board that I showed you down the hallway, where they can write down how they felt before and how they feel after. Because I can tell you all day long that this is helping, but having a customer point blank see it, like that just solidifies the fact that yes, this is, at least making them feel better for a while. It's not going to fix it, sadly.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you have this service for people as an outlet, and the fact that I know you're helping people, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So what's one of the craziest things that's ever been broken here?
Usually the divorce parties are the ones where somebody brings in like just something that they're connected to, and you can, their wedding glasses or their wedding pictures or, just something because they're just so angry.
Yeah.
As far as weird, I don't know as if there's a specific weird thing, but I think divorce things are kind of like those are the ones where they have to bring that one thing that connected them to that marriage just so they can let go of it. But on that note, we also have a lot of fun things too. We do birthday parties, we do bachelorette parties, we do graduation parties. So, and with this being June, for Mother's Day and coming up here in June, we do like color bombs. So we'll have a jar full of like colored cornstarch and confetti. And when they hit that, it just like explodes and blows up like all over the place like color. And that's really fun and pretty. Yeah. But probably the most fun thing to break is just printers, just because of how much air is in them, and they just pop and smack and break everywhere. So. Okay. Yeah.
Do you do like corporate events or birthday parties? Like what?
Yeah. So we can have up to 25 people in a reservation. When they have 25 people, they would have all 5 rooms. Regardless of how many people they have in the room, though, or in the group, there's always only 2 people in each room at a time. But the rooms have windows on them. But we do corporate outings quite a bit, and those are kind of fun to cater because individually, even if you came with like say your real estate group, you might be coming because you're going through a real estate group, but maybe somebody in that group is still dealing with something that even during a fun event, they can still process the crap that they're holding on to. But those big groups are also just kind of fun to do because they're coming for lots of different fun reasons.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting that there's this type of outlet for people in West Michigan. Mm-hmm. What's the farthest somebody's traveled to come to here?
That has been an interesting one because we have had people come from like the really, really high tip of the UP. We've had them come down to Indiana. We've had them come from Canada. We've had them come from Wisconsin.
Okay.
We have a waiver system that, as you know, like you had to fill out.
Right.
And it will track like the addresses. Well, sometimes somebody came to the Grand Rapids area and they were visiting somebody, so maybe somebody didn't come from Texas to see me, but they're from Texas.
Sure.
But
they came here to see somebody else and learned.
And while they were here, like, hey, let's do this too. But we have had people specifically from Indiana, specifically from Canada, specifically from Wisconsin drive to us, which is humbling because you're talking a half an hour session and it took them a long time to get here.
Yeah.
But they felt so much better when they left that they were okay that, it was a 2-hour drive or a 3-hour drive for a half an hour session. But
so how many break rooms rage rooms are there like this in the United States? I know they're all a little bit different.
When I last looked, there were 35 rage rooms in the United States. That number could have gone up or down a few. The last time I looked was in March, so it's probably give or take a few from there. The category is rage room. All of us kind of operate differently. You can tell looking at some that they opened it just to break stuff, and then you can tell that there are some to actually be there for the customer and to offer a service. There's only one break room therapy. We're not corporate. It's all me. It's all the way that my husband and I decided that we'd run the business. But there are other rage rooms.
Yeah. So how did you get the idea to open a business like this for people?
Well, once I knew that they existed,
How did you find out they existed?
So I was on Squad Buddy looking for a place for my husband just to let go, because he just wakes up angry, and I don't operate that way, and he was just constantly upset, constantly just frustrated. So I was looking for a way for him to let go, and somebody suggested that I take him to a rage room. At that point, I was like, what the heck is a rage room?
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and at that point, the closest one was over in the Detroit area, and I was like, he's not going to work for me to just take him. So I told him, and that's when he told me he had no desire. But when I started looking at the other ones in the United States and how they were operating, specifically Smash Therapy down in Texas, I loved her concept of wrapping it around mental health and trying to be there for customers and just trying to provide a space for people just to let go. There's too many times in your life that you're just told, oh, it'll be okay, or sit down and shut up, or don't worry, you're strong, or this too shall pass, or like all these things that just kind of like basically ignore the problem, and that doesn't solve it. This isn't going to solve it either, but it's also not going to just tell you to bury your feelings. And when I looked at her page and some of the other rage rooms that you could tell that they're adding like the mental health therapy aspect to it, I just connected to it. I said, I have to do this.
Yeah.
That was Super Bowl Sunday of 2019. I spent the whole Super Bowl looking at all the other rage rooms, looking at how they operated, what rules they had, what weapons they had. Reached out to a few of them because now I'm like, okay, who insures these kinds of things?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out like even ceiling height requirements, because I mean, like in this room, this would never work, though there are some rage rooms that do this level. But you get a tall man in here, and now he can't swing. So our rooms back in the back are 22-foot ceiling heights. So that's when I reached out to my realtor friend, Scotty, and I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to be looking for industrial.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to want it to be next to like something like a dentist's office next door to me, or someplace quiet. You want where you can be loud. So I needed industrial space, big, tall ceilings. But then it was, how do we do it from there? And then I got a hold of my friend Jason, who does construction, and him and I just kind of started scoping out different spaces. And when we found, both that one, the original one and this one, we both kind of like mapped it out, and I said, okay, I want this, and somehow I just kind of knew. Like my vision was there, I just had to put it all together.
Yeah, it's great how it worked like that.
Yeah.
So somebody told you about this type of space, right?
Yep.
Probably because they went to one before. Now you have all types of people coming from all over the place that are coming to your space. Mm-hmm. Just think about like how they could be telling somebody else, and how this message or type of therapy could be growing in ways that you don't even know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We get asked all the time if we're looking at expanding or growing or moving, and I'm only 4 years into this, but it's a lot to run a business. I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm happy that we did it. It's definitely been something that I wish I would have done like 20 years ago, because I'm not, really young, but it takes a lot to run a business.
Yeah.
So if somebody else wants to do one, I'll talk franchising with them. I've got a whole plan, I've got all my notes on how I've done different things, but I'm having a hard enough time running one location.
Yeah, I bet.
And this one keeps me busy enough as it is, but.
Well, how did you choose West Michigan, Grand Rapids area to start your business?
So we live in Byron Center anyhow. I've been 23 years now over here in the West Michigan area.
Okay.
I met my husband online. I used to live over in the Thumb. What
here.
What part
of the Thumb?
Cairo, Bad Axe, Sagnal, Bay City, Akron Fairgrove, like the Thumb.
Yeah.
Depends on which foster home I was in.
Okay.
But 23 years ago, I met my husband online, came over here, and I've just kind of been a transplant here since then. We've lived in Kentwood, we lived in Grand Rapids, Wyoming, Byron Center.
Nice.
And we just kind of like the area. It just feels like home.
Yes.
So when we were looking for a location, we didn't really have a specific, like, let's be in Byron Center or let's be in Grand Rapids. My biggest thing was, industrial.
Yeah,
in a
having
space,
the space.
right?
Yep.
Space and, where it felt not sketch.
Yeah, a business like this, I think people will travel for it.
Right.
Yeah, so you could really be anywhere as long as, you have a clear branding and marketing of what you're doing.
Right, yeah.
So,
Well, and I have my car wrapped. I have the van wrapped. I'm almost always in my break room therapy shirt somewhere. Branding is definitely huge because even 4 years into it, there's still a lot of people that don't know we exist, which is a double-edged sword. Yes, I'm the only one in West Michigan that has a rage room, but because I am the only one, people don't know of us really.
yeah,
If I'd open a restaurant, you need to eat. So you're like, hey, places to eat near me.
there's so many of those.
Right.
So.
But unless you know to look for a rage room, you're not necessarily looking for it. Now, once you do hear of it, if you look, I'm going to be found. But still trying to get that word of mouth out there is still definitely my biggest challenge.
So you mentioned restaurants, right? So you've been here for 22 years. Like, what would be one thing you would say somebody needs to do if they're coming to West Michigan?
There's a lot of things they should do.
Besides coming here, obviously.
Definitely get some food at Mitten Brewing. Their food's really good. Go downtown, go to the zoo. Oh my gosh, there's so many things in the Grand Rapids area that just, you could walk downtown and see something new every time you go.
Yeah.
So
What's
many things.
One of your favorite things?
Well, I've kind of got a hippo obsession, and now that the zoo has a hippos,
Hippos like to break stuff.
They do. So now I have a membership at the zoo, and I go there every day, or not every day, every Monday. Like, I just carve up some time for myself, and that's just my space.
Okay.
I like to do that. Otherwise, I don't know. My husband's a softball coach, so we've played on lots of different fields, or not played. I've watched him coach on lots of fields. I don't know. There's so many different water areas in the area that, or trails, or just so
Kind of
much to do.
overload of
Yeah,
stuff,
there's
right?
so much. Trust me, even if you're coming for me, there is so much to do in the area that you can make a whole day of it and just have a perfect day.
Is there anywhere else where you could see your business like doing really well?
I get asked a lot if we're going to go to Kalamazoo or to Lansing or, places. I think as long as it's ran for the right reasons, a rage room can be, successful anywhere.
Okay.
As far as me, I'm really interested in just this one right now, but I'm only 4 years in. Who knows what I'll feel on year 5 and 6.
Yeah, well, you're doing amazing things here. This is awesome. You got it really set up.
Yeah, and on that note, so like I told you, not every rage room's operated the same way. We had a customer in one time, we were actually in this room right here, and out of nowhere, she looks at whoever was with her. I'm going to say cousin right now. And she's like, yeah, remember I told you everything about this place and, how it's going to feel sketch and it's going to feel scary and it's going to feel not so warm and welcoming. But once you're back in the room, then it's going to be, you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
She goes, forget all that because I can already tell we're not that place.
Yeah.
We're not.
She's describing another one, right? Yeah.
We try to keep this one very warm, very, welcoming, very well lit, very clean. Even when you're in the rooms, yes, there's some glass on the floor, but, it's a very clean and welcoming location.
I can imagine it'd probably be pretty hard to get all of that glass
Oh,
up.
yeah. So when we have different events, like next Monday I have a networking event that I'm hosting, the rooms will be completely clean. Or when we do our ribbon cutting next Wednesday, the rooms are completely clean and we, really, really sweep them. But in general, there's probably glass everywhere at some point because we're a rage room.
Yeah.
But
so you got a networking event here. Mm-hmm. Who's that for?
In general.
Okay.
I got tired of waiting for the perfect networking opportunity that doesn't exist
So you
during the time
created
that I'm
it, right?
open. So
Okay.
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
So 3 months ago, I just decided on just to post on every connection I'm part of. I was one of the top 100 for Start Garden back in 2019, so I connected with them. I'm part of Spring GR, which is an organization that helps new businesses kind of get on their feet. I connected with them. GR Boss Babes. I'm a Grand Rapids Chamber member. I'm a Wyoming Kentwood Chamber Network member. So every connection I have, I've thrown an open invite for if they want to come, let's do it. It's a free event. It goes from 5:30 to 7:30, and actually, for that matter, 5 of the rooms back there plus this one, so 6 rooms total.
Yep.
If businesses wanted to have their own little booth, they can spotlight their own business too. Because I'm not trying to gain off of this, just trying to make connections.
Okay.
So make my own.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Is there like limitations as far as the different types of businesses that are allowed to come? Or?
On the actual ones that are spotlighted, I'm only having one of each type.
Okay.
So I've asked them what their business is because I don't want to have 5 different real estates or
Sure.
Something. But as far as who can come, anybody can come.
Yeah.
Whether you're a business owner or whether you're just like high connected in a business where it's your job to do the networking and connections and get your business information out there, just providing a space.
Yeah, that's actually why we do this podcast is to highlight the different businesses and build connections and relations with other Grand Rapids area businesses. So that's awesome that you're doing the networking event here and just showcasing your space. So now 25 or 40 new people, however many come to your event, are going to know of your space.
Exactly. So. And they know about each other's as well. I feel like we're only as good as, the connections and businesses that we make. And I can tell you so many small business owners that I've met even just during this journey that I'm only as good as what they are doing if we help each other out. So just providing a space for everybody just helps all of us.
Yeah. So is there any questions that maybe I should have asked you that I didn't?
Some of the questions that we get asked are, what are the minimum age? Our minimum age is 13 and not a day younger.
Okay.
But anyway, 13 to 17 must have an adult present.
Yep.
Does not have to be the parent, just has to be an adult. We prefer that the parent is one here, but sometimes that parent's not that safe person in that person's life, sadly.
Sure.
You've asked if we could bring their own equipment, and they definitely can bring in their own items. We allow you to bring 10 additional pieces of glass for free to every package as long as they're clean. And then if you bring any outside electronics, we just have the one rule in electronics says that TVs and monitors must be flat screen with no mercury labels because those are not safe to be broke.
Yep.
And people can book online. Everything is available on the website, breakroomtherapy.com. Then the book now area, it will show you real-time availability. And it's the same cost whether you have 2, 3, or 4 of you. So it does not change the cost.
Okay. So who cleans up afterwards?
Me and my staff. It's not as hard as what it sounds.
Oh, man. I'd break stuff in my living room if I thought it was going to be easy.
Well, the difference is at your living room, you would be worried about getting every last little sliver, where we're worried about getting the really big stuff.
I gotcha.
The metals we pick out, that goes to the scrapyard. The glass, gets swept up. The plastic gets swept up. But it's not as scary as what it sounds or intimidating as it sounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. We can do a quick little turnaround in about 3-4 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's,
unless it's like an intense, like if they broke a lot of electronics or something, but 5 to 7, it's not very long.
Thanks, Dawn, for sharing your story with us. And how can someone get in touch with you if they want to book an event here with you?
We're available on all of the social networks. So we have Facebook, Instagram, I have TikTok. We have the website, breakroomtherapy.com, then the Book Now area, or contact us on there as well. You can call me. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we do open up on the off days if I can make it work in my schedule. I do have things that I obviously need to do in the background as well and try and have a life, but we open up on the off days when we can.
Yep.
But yeah, they can reach out on any of the websites or social media, and we're always available. Our phone number also has a whole bunch of like preset things in case they have specific questions, or if they leave us a voicemail, it sends me a text message of like a automated of what they had said. So I always get the message even when we're not here.
Life of entrepreneur, business person. You're doing it all.
Trying. It's not easy, but it's definitely been a fun journey.
I really do appreciate you sharing all of this with us, and wish you continued success in your business.
Well, thank you for checking it out. I'm glad that you came.
Thanks for showing us.